Hey, happy Friday. Welcome to the 3 Things I Learned, Saas, Sports Tech, and Live Events. We're going to talk early stage entrepreneurship here. Some of the things we learned along the way when it comes to freedom of time, the personal guarantee, and how to deal with bullies along the way. So number 1, freedom. When we talk to people about starting their own business, overwhelmingly one of the reasons people talk about is freedom. They want to be able to do what they want, when they want to do it, because they are their own boss. I got news for you. Unless you're independently wealthy, you're not going to be your own boss. You're going to have banks to report to. You're going to have auditors to report to. You got to turn things into the IRS and the municipalities on time. If you want to have happy customers, you got to answer them. And when your staff doesn't answer them, guess who's next? You are. This idea that you're going to have a Xanadu where you can cruise in and out wherever you like, it's just not reality, especially not now. In the late 90s, a Gallup poll polled 150,000 people around the globe about how much free time they have versus what happened in the 1950s, back when we were working on lines and building cars and the like. And we don't have the ability to leave work at work anymore. That's amplified significantly when you're the entrepreneur and you're the last line of defense. So this idea that you're going to be able to cut out on a Wednesday and hit the lake, I would leave that at the door. You're going to have freedom of ideas. You're going to have freedom of purpose. You're going to have freedom of what you want to pursue. And that's worth so much more than freedom of time. That's number 1. Number 2, the oh so terrifying personal guarantee. The personal guarantee, it's the least of your worries. I saw this great tweet the other day, which brought us back to our early days and the fear that we had around that personal guarantee. And that's how you have to guarantee your loans, your bank accounts, your credit cards, your office, all the different things that you're signing up for in order to start your business. Unless you're lucky enough to have venture funding right at the gate with absolutely no product or staff at all, or unlike what this tweet says, this guy keeps posting this tweet about Salesforce being a rags to riches story. It is most definitely not. Mark Benioff, in his own book, talks about how he was a VP at Oracle who did not give his job up to start Salesforce, worked part-time, and got $2.5 million from Larry Ellison. That aside, if you're not Mark Benioff, and he's a wild success, and you're more like the rest of us, you're going to have to stare that personal guarantee right down the barrel. Let me tell you something from experience from somebody who's gone about as close to broke as you could have gone when starting a business. The personal guarantee is the least of your concerns. The mental and social guarantee are going to be much more heavy as you go forward. Turns out that personal guarantee is actually a pretty good harbinger of the resolve of an entrepreneur, and something that if people are trying to get around it when you're advising their business, maybe they're not ready to get started. That's number 2. And number 3, and this will come up if you're going to disrupt the big companies, from J.D. Rockefeller, what do I care about the law? And I got the power. Rockefeller has a number of ends justify the means quotes. You can see more of them when you watch The Battle for Uber, currently on Showtime, or Bad Blood, the HBO documentary of Theranos, or Smartest Guys in the Room, or even the fictitious Billions, or, right? All these things remind us that people will do just about anything to look out for themselves, especially the incumbents. And if it works, that confirmation bias and that willingness to cross the line even further only ratchets up a little bit. When we ask startups that we advise what they'll do if an incumbent eventually plays dirty with them, and sometimes they argue with us that they won't. It's cute. They usually answer with something like, they won't because it's illegal. As Rockefeller pointed out, they don't care. The follow-up is then, well, if they do, we'll sue them. Trust me from experience, kids, they don't care about the law or the lawsuit, because that takes 2 to 4 years these days before you're going to see anything, and it's quite expensive. So you better have the stomach for it. And I'll add a little editorial. If you do have the stomach for it, and it is a situation you're very confident, it's quite the ride. That's it for the 3 things this week. We'll see everybody next week.